You want it to be easy. You want manifesting to be easy. You want your better life to be easy. But sometimes it doesn't feel like that. And that's why I'm so excited for today's topic, because today's topic is going to show you 3 ways you can make it easy. Hey everyone, it's Acacia, the CEO legal coach, and we are live 3 times a week with the Aligned Business Series every Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, where we answer your real live questions on the air. And I also tell you some of the secrets behind running a great business, being aligned to the right clients. And today is about manifesting, because being in the right energy, in the right vibes for your business and for your client are really important. But most importantly, being the fullest expression of you. Being the fullest expression of you is one of the most important things in this life, because if you can't be the full you, why were you ever born to be you? You matter. You are so important. And so today I'm going to show you how we can bring more of you into the world towards your goals and your manifestation ideas with little effort. Little effort. All right. So it's called the 2% rule. And I've learned to apply this in 3 different areas of my life. And when I first heard it, I was doing a manifesting session with somebody, and she had mentioned this idea of 2%. And I'll admit, I still, to this day, have no idea what she was talking about. But the number 2% stuck with me. It stuck with me. And I found ways to really, really use this, and they help elevate your life sometimes in a matter of days. It's really, really cool, especially once you start to build on top of each other. So what are you going to use this for? Simply, you're going to use this to help you get towards whatever you're being called to do or manifest in your life, okay? You're going to use these 3 things, and they're very different, as you'll see here in a moment. And let's just start off with the very, very first one. The first one is the idea of 2% in an action. What is something today that you could do with only 2% effort? No more than that. I don't want to give more than that. Manifesting does not take like pushing a boulder up a hill. But it can feel that way. You're like, how do I get my life to that when my life is at this? 2%. 2% starts to stack. And I'll tell you one of the ones that I started with. This was back before I was really intentionally manifesting. But the idea, I had realized that when I came home to a made bed, when my bed was just made, it made me feel good. It felt nice to crawl into a bed that was fully made and looked cute and fluffy and beautiful. But I didn't grow up in a house where you make your bed. I didn't. And I was usually so late for things that I didn't have time to make my bed. So as I continued into adulthood, the doing of the things, the accomplishing of the things, the working, the studying, whatever I had to do in life was far more important than making my bed. So I never made my bed. But then I decided one day, I realized when I woke up, I have to flip open the sheets, right? Open the comforter to get out. Well, instead of just letting that sheet go, why don't I just go and fold it right back where I was? 2%. That's how little 2% can be. You opened it and I just put it right back. That's simple. Nothing else. Didn't care. That was it. And I just folded it back. Now, was my bed perfectly made? Was it everything and fluffy? No. But I could easily just do this with my sheets again. And I started to do that every day. That was just so easy. I could just do that. And so I did that. And then eventually I was like, well, I can with my other hand just move the pillow back. And then I would just put the sheet back and move the pillow back. And these little things, I didn't try to be like, okay, move the sheet and put the pillow back. That already would have been too much for me. I would have been like, you know what? Not in the mood. No, it's not what I do. I need to go do things. But the idea of so simply just putting my hand back where I open the covers from, I could put them right back. Well, that I could do. And little by little, I now fully make my bed every single morning, and it's glorious because it makes me happy, warm, and fuzzy every time I walk by it. And I get to cozy into my little queen bed when I go to bed, and I just feel like $1 million. I feel like $1 million just because I started with this. And so this is one of the ways that like 2% has really changed my life, these little things. And if you've ever read Atomic Habits, he calls this habit stacking. But for me, I want you to not just create a habit. I want you to do what feels good, what's going to light you up, right? The idea of having my bed made lights me up. I feel glorious at the end of a hardworking day to go into bed and be like, I deserve this. I deserve to fall asleep on a beautiful silky pillow. but it wouldn't feel like that if it was all slabby with my pillows and sheets everywhere, right? And so that's where this started for me, was that idea, and how much my mood started to elevate, how much better I thought of and felt for myself and my self-love, my self-respect over simply making my bed. But then it started to come into other areas of my life. One of the ones that I really love right now, there's two of them, is the idea of when I feed myself. I make my food and I put it on a plate, right? It goes on a plate. What if I just made it pretty? What if I just made it look like a fancy restaurant? One thing for me is I find that dried parsley has almost no flavor to me. I'm sure we all know that everyone has like cilantro is this or cilantro is that. So we all have different taste buds. But for me, the idea of just, okay, put it in a cute little pile on my plate and pour some dried parsley on top, that little bit of a topping, that elevated my mood. I enjoyed my meal more. I enjoyed looking at my meal when I sat down to it. Sure, I was about to destroy the crud out of it and eat it. But at that moment of I was worthy having a good meal. And then I went on to get little ramekins. You can get them at the dollar store sometimes or whatever, and you buy them once, you can use them over. So now whenever I have a sauce or a dressing, it's always nice and neatly on the side. And I do these little things, just these little things, maybe some cracked pepper on top of an egg, just whatever it is to make that plate not look like a blop. It's not something I have to do, not something I had to make, but to be a moment that's mine. Where are the things in your life, making the bed, making your meals, that you can just have this moment where it takes nothing? Maybe it's lighting a candle and, while you're watching TV. Maybe it's lighting a candle while you read your book, putting some scent in the air. What is that one little thing? That one little thing that can change your life on the day-to-day. One where I kind of decided to counter what was going on in my life is that I bought myself some new, I have like a bar in my house. And so I bought myself like these really cute glasses. They have like these little gold rims and cute colors. And I remember saving up to buy them, and I have them there. And I'm like, well, those are for guests, right? Those are for guests. Those are when we have special occasions, when I have parties. And I said, why? I'm the one who picked them out. I'm the one who paid for them, or I'm the one who inherited them. They're mine. They're mine in this world, this earth, right here, right now, in this reality. I'm the one telling myself no. Why am I telling myself no? Because I'm not good enough? Because today wasn't a special day? Today is a special day. It's a special day because I decide I am special and worthy. And so what I do now is about once or twice a week, I will go get one of those special plates or one of those special glasses, and I'll drink whatever I want from it. Whatever I want from it. I remember buying myself a little curly cute straw, right? That was $1 there as well. Curly cute straw just is fun. It adds fun to whatever I'm drinking. And, soda, water, it doesn't matter. But these little 2% moments, these 2% moments of denying myself something got removed, but also improving my moments to where they made me feel happy. So this is the first way that I use the 2% rule to bring happiness and better moments into my life. And like I said, now I've got a made bed. I have a clean house. I have beautiful food and kitchen and beverage and drinkware because I started little 2% at a time. I didn't have this massive overhaul, because overhauling a big, massive habit can be difficult. Not always. Sometimes when you really decide something, you're like, that's it, we've decided. But other times I need to work towards it, or my day is already so full and exhausting that I just need a moment of happiness in it. Allow yourself that moment of happiness. I'm sure there is something in your life, and I want you to add it into the chat right now. I want you to add into the chat, what is that little thing that you can do that's been in the back of your mind, like making your bed, but like it's too much effort to go and make your bed. What can you do? What is it going to be? I want them in there. I love it. Oh, the way I get dressed. Oh, that's a good one. Oh, okay. And then, my time with my dog. Oh, I love that. My kids. Oh, giving myself a bubble bath. There you go. There you go. How amazing is that? In fact, I have a story about a bubble bath and how that was one of the things that started my whole manifesting journey. But we don't have time for that one today, but it's a great one. These are all great, guys. I love this. I love this. Okay, so that was the first way I used the 2% rule to help me manifest bigger and better. Because when you're in a better mood and you know you're worth it, and every little moment that you're appreciating yourself and everything you bring to this world, you enable and elevate yourself to bring more. And this next one is how you feel in the moment. Look, life happens. I've had some shitty shit happen to me in my life. I'm sure you have too. There doesn't come a point in our lives where stuff doesn't get stressful, or other people or things. The more moving parts there are, there's sometimes it can feel like there's more to fall apart or more to influence where we are. And so that's one of the reasons I created this 2% rule. This 2% rule is whenever I'm not in the mood in the morning, right? Sometimes I'm not in the mood to be elevated. Sometimes I'm not in the mood to really feel the gratitude. Sometimes I'm not in the mood. I'm just cranky. I'm tired or whatever. I ask myself, okay, Acacia, on a scale of 1 to 100, 1 being life sucks right now, and 100 being this is a beautiful, amazing, once in a lifetime moment. I'm so grateful for it. I am in full alignment with everything I'm calling in. Where do I fall? Where do you fall? And some days I'd be like, you know what? We're at 20% today. Today is a 20% day. I have to go do something right now. One of my family members is suffering and I have to go do something. I have to turn my back on that. I can't be there. I feel frustrated. I feel angry, and I feel scared that something's going to happen to that family member. I'm at 20%. That's all I can give. That's all I got. And I go, okay, apply the 2% rule. I appreciate that you're at 20% right now, Acacia. Can you get yourself to 22%? Yeah. Yeah, I can elevate a little bit. I love it. Beautiful. Now that you're at 22%, can you get yourself to 24%? Yeah, I can get there. And I would do this just 2% at a time, because trying to get myself to go from 20% to 100%, well, that wasn't going to happen. That wasn't going to happen. But I also didn't want to stay down at 20%. That wasn't going to help me manifest a beautiful day. That wasn't going to help me manifest everything I was trying to become and grow into. So I stacked it up and I got myself to like 34%. And I know you're thinking like, well, 34%, that's still not 100%. I can't be at 100% of the time. It doesn't work like that. We're human. Life is real. And to expect that of ourselves is just not kind to us. So I would rather be at 34% in my day than at 20%. Because at 34% is still 14% closer to where I want to be. Every piece of elevation you can do in your life matters. Every single one of them. And 2% is small enough, but it adds up. These little gradual things do and will add up, especially if you can do them in the moment and stack them over time. That momentum, that accumulation will have a tipping point for your manifestations. It will. So that's the second way that I use the 2% rule, is the idea of taking my mood when I'm not in the mood and just asking myself, what percentage are you at? Can you go 2% more? Can you go a little bit more than that? 2% and 2% until you hit this is it. Because a 34% rate of a day is much better than a 20%. Because 20% is where I fell back to. That is where my default was. That is where my conditioning as a child brought me. But every little bit, if I can now train myself that now my new bad day is going to be at a 34%, I'm making my life that much better, and I'm going to manifest it that much faster. Okay, so we've gone through 2 out of the 3. 1, the habit stacking, the 2%. What's something you can do that's so simple and little? Use a fancy wear in your house. Make that meal look pretty. Put the sheets back when you get out of bed. Whatever it is, that 2% that is so simple. So simple, it takes almost no conscious effort at all. That's how easy we want it to be. And then the second one is about your mood. Elevating it 2% in a way that, again, takes almost no conscious effort other than to stop and realize that you're not in a good mood. And ask yourself, what percentage are you at? What percentage are you at? And elevate it by 2%, little by little. All right, and now on to the third one. The third one is about the idea that when we manifest something in our lives, it's not in isolation, right? When I teach vision boards, people are like, oh, do I have a vision board for my health? And then I'll have one for my money and my career, and then I'll have one for this. And like, no. Your health is not separate from your money. Your money is not separate from your career. Your career is not separate from your mood. And none of those are separate from the outfit that you want to buy. You are a whole person. Your life is holistic. And we want your entire manifesting to represent that. So while it is true we want to manifest one thing at a time, right? We want our energy focused towards one thing, one focus area. What we do want to realize is that a rising tide lifts all boats. A rising tide lifts all boats. So for example, let's say you're after that $100,000 a month. Okay, you've got the $100,000. What's actually going to happen in the rest of your life? Odds are your mood's going to be better. Odds are you're probably going to be wearing different clothes. Odds are you're going to eat differently. Odds are your day might go a little bit differently. You might have a different routine. All these other areas. Instead of just focusing directly at the money you're after, can you lift any of their boats with it? How easy can you lift any of the other boats? Right? If your confidence is going to go up when you make this money, what can you do to boost your confidence now? What does that confidence have to do about the clothes you're wearing or how you're doing your hair or your makeup? How is that changing what you're speaking or saying to the people in the room? Does that change your day? What areas around ancillary to what you're trying to manifest can you move up 2%? Because by moving them up 2%, everything else comes with it, right? It's not that, oh, you get the money, now you're more confident. Sometimes it's that you're more confident, you get the money. They're one and the same. So that's what we want to do with this third application of the 2% rule, is that we sit there and we take what is easily connected, right? And again, you don't have to change your whole life, just like we've been talking about today. Maybe it's as simple as making your bed. So what are the other areas around it that would be directly impacted if and when, not if, when you get your manifestation, because you're always going to get it. You cannot fail at it if you persist at it, by the way. That is impossible to fail at manifesting. What else changes in your life? And can you go ahead and move any of those up 2%? Lift the other boats 2%, and you will find that the one you're after trying to lift will raise that much easier. Don't wait for that one boat to lift all the others. Lift the whole tide. Lift the tide 2%, and you'd be surprised what ends up happening in your life. All right. Yes. Oh my gosh, I love this. Yes. Mary, yes. Okay, so now we're on to answering all the questions. I saw a few come in. I love your questions, by the way. It's actually one of my favorite things. So you guys spark stuff in me. Okay, so what do we got? What if I feel like 2% isn't enough to make a difference? That's almost the point. It should feel so easy. Just like putting my blankets back. I didn't think that just putting my blanket back was going to have that big of an effect on my day. I did it because it was easy. It was easy, and it was in the direction of what I wanted. I wanted a nice bed. So, but it still wasn't the full bed, because I've been trying for years, trying to get myself to make my bed in the morning. It was not happening. I accepted that about myself. Fine. It's just not who you are, where you are right now. But I could close the blanket. That didn't feel like much. I mostly did it because it felt easy. We want it to be easy. Let it be easy. So don't worry if it feels like the 2% isn't enough. They stack up. Same with your mood, right? Okay, you're 20% and all you can get to is 22%. A 22% mood is still 2% better than you were. Every little bit counts, especially as you build on top of them, because something that's so easy to include in your day, like folding my blankets or putting some dry parsley on top of my food, that became a habit so quickly in a matter of like 3 days, because it was too easy to even think about. I didn't have to think about it. And now when I've done enough of these, my whole life is changed. The quality of my home and daily meals is changed because of this 2% rule. One day you will just stop and be like, whoa, I changed my actions that much in the direction of what I wanted and who I am. And it all felt so easy, right? So don't worry if it feels like enough. That's almost exactly why you should be doing it. If it doesn't feel hard, then do it. Yeah. What if I've been trying to manifest for a long time and nothing's happening? Okay, love. If you're trying to manifest, for a long time, I don't know what you mean by a long time, but I want to ask you a simple question. Do you want it, or have you decided it's time? There is a difference between wanting and deciding. Wanting is longing for something. It's a hope that someday it will happen. It has this abstract idea of it's still afar from me. It's still somewhere in the distance. It's still on a someday. Wanting is not manifesting. Manifesting requires a decision. I decide this is going to be my life. This is going to be in my life. This is going to be the experience I have. This is it. I remember when my mom and I were doing Antarctica. I went on my mom's bucket list trip, which was to Africa, and I had no plans on going, but it was important to her, so I went. And then we come back, and a year later, she's like, "Okay, time to book your bucket list trip." And my bucket list trip was to Antarctica, which I didn't have the money. I was actually unemployed at the time, so I had zero money. I was draining money, and she wants me to book a trip that's, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it right, which meant it was going to cost me around $21,000. Where the hell am I supposed to get that money from? You don't do that, Mom. Like, I'm not ready. I don't have the money. I don't want to take my dream and just fail at it. I don't take that. I want to keep dreaming about it, Mom. It's meant to be that I keep dreaming and thinking about going to Antarctica. And she goes, "No, you book it." So we went and talked to travel agents. We looked at what were the best, and we booked it. And I had to put down my deposit, but I had a little bit of time to get that deposit. I put down the deposit, and here it was. Okay. That day's on the books. It was booked for January 20th. I have got to find that money. I have got to get this into action. And the next thing I know, I had paid it off. I didn't have a raise yet. I still, and to this day, have no idea how I did that. But I was meant to do that. I was meant to follow my client, and I was meant to bring it into the here and now, not leave it on the pedestal, not leave it for a someday, not leave it for a dream. Make it happen. The decision of now is the most important thing you can do when it comes to your manifesting. Take action right here, right now. So if you've been trying to manifest for a long time and nothing's happening, my guess is that it's somewhere in that space. Yeah. What if I slide backwards instead of forward? Well, first off, you can't actually go backwards. Think of where you were a year ago. Are you still the same person? Maybe your bank account's different. Maybe your job's different. Maybe your home is different. Things might have shifted in some way, but you're not different. I mean, you're not the same that you were then. You're different. You're different because even though you've learned the lessons, you've had the experiences, you've learned the lessons and had the experiences. You are not the same, which means it is impossible to slide backwards. It's impossible to ever slide backwards. But what we sometimes feel like we're doing is we feel like we tried and then we failed. I tried and then I failed, and I tried and I failed. That is different. Which, again, by the way, there is no feeling in manifesting. If you're actually take the steps saying, "Hey, I have decided this is happening. This is what I'm aligned to. I'm going to be fearless. There's not going to be any doubt. I'm taking full action with my whole head and my heart. This is where we're going. This is what we're doing." You cannot fail, even though it might feel like you're failing around you. What you might be expecting of yourself is perfection, or you might be expecting certain expectations to come out of things. Those are mental things that we can shift. Because when we set expectations, failure is nothing more than a failure to meet our own expectations. It's falling short of our own expectations. And expectations either come out of a standard, like an outcome, like, "Hey, I wanted $100,000 and I didn't get it," or to time. I wanted it this month and it didn't happen this month. Well, who set those numbers and who set that timeline? You did. You did. So we either want to shift why we did that, why we were so harsh about that, or what about that us didn't align to that. Because again, you cannot fail in manifesting, but you can fail. You can set yourself up to feel like a failure if you set unreasonable expectations on yourself, which is why we're talking about the 2% rule here, right? Like little things, brainless, mindless things that you could do in your day. And next thing you know, there's such a habit, you don't even think about it. So these little things, there is no such thing as sliding backwards. There's no such thing as sliding backwards. All there can be is more self-awareness of why and how it felt like failure and your role in that to make sure that the next time you are succeeding at that, right? There is no moving backwards because you're not the same person you were when you were 10 or 20, depending on your age. But if you think like 5-10 years ago, you're not that same person. It is impossible to literally go backwards. Impossible. Can I manifest for someone else or only for myself? Only for yourself, love. Only for yourself. And this is for a few reasons. One, only you can know your inner calling. Only you can know your inner calling. And the other person can only know their inner calling. While we might love people, we want the best for them, we want them to be happy, they are the only ones who can make themselves happy. Even if you gave them everything you wanted, it doesn't guarantee you're going to get the mood, the ideas, the concepts through them resonating the way you want them to, because it still has to resonate through them and in them. One I sometimes use as an example is sometimes when it comes to manifesting a romantic partner, some people like to have an idea of who that is. Oh, I want this person. It's going to be this person. I definitely want it to be this person. Well, what if that person isn't actually aligned for you? I had this happen with myself. I was like, clearly this person and I are meant to be together. Like that's obvious. Oh my gosh, it's so obvious. I look forward to the universe bringing us back together. And then the more I started to realize what I felt the ideal romantic partner felt like, I'm going to think this way. I'm going to feel this way. My heart is going to speak like this. My body is going to feel like that. These are the moments we're going to have. And I started to realize that's not the way I feel with him. That's not the way I felt with him. And I was like, wait a minute. Do I want what I feel with him? Or do I want what actually is a full, complete romantic love that elevates me? And I started to realize there was a difference. But let's look at this also the flip way. Let's flip that. What if he had decided I was the one for him, but I didn't feel that way about him? We wouldn't want that. We wouldn't want somebody else to make decisions for us in our life. So trying to manifest for somebody else to do something or to be something else, it's the same. It's unfair to them. It's not respecting them as a person. The same way it wouldn't be fair to you or respecting you as a person. We each are responsible for our own lives. Now, that being said, I have seen situations where things manifest for someone through somebody else. For example, is like money through maybe your spouse or an experience through your spouse. Maybe you've always wanted to go to Bali and next thing you know, your husband is a sales rep and this year's award for his great sales is a trip to Bali, right? So things like that have happened. So it's not that you can't have a manifestation come through somebody else, but you don't want it to be a manifestation for somebody else, or you trying to influence somebody else's life. Because I heard a thing the other day, like if we let everybody else's moods and everybody else affect us, we would need to pay for everybody else to go to therapy for us to ever have a happy day. And I think it was Bob Proctor who said that. But like that idea, right? We don't control others. We don't want to control others. We can only control ourselves, our thoughts, our feelings. And that's the space we want to be in. But hopefully, as you continue to elevate yourself, the other person is also influenced and sees that and makes their own decisions to manifest and elevate themselves as well. Okay, I think I saw one more in there. How often should I do the emotional percentage check-in? Okay, how often should you do the 2% check-in? For me, it's kind of like I'm in a cranky mood. So a lot of people recommend that you have some type of morning routine. I have a morning routine. Mine is not what a lot of people say to have. Oh, for an hour, do this and then work out and do that. No, I have my own. I have the one that feels right to me. But part of that is noticing, where am I? Where am I mentally? Where am I emotionally? Where am I in my vibration? And so I have tools and tricks, right? Tools and resources over the years where it's like, well, this isn't what I want. I'm in a mood. I'm in a funk. I'm in a funk right now. What can I do? I don't want to accept the funk. I'm not going to just accept that I woke up on the wrong side of the bed. No, That's not the way I'm going to live my day. That's not going to help me be who I want to be or manifest what I want to manifest. So, what's a tool I can use? How about the 2% rule? Let's do the 2%. And then I use that. So, it's less about, doing it every single day, but if that's what you're called to do, when is it going to help you? When is it going to help elevate you? Bring that in as one of those tools and resources available to you. So the more you can check in with yourself for your mood or your mindset throughout the day, it's one of the tools and resources available to you that's easy, zero cost, right? Super fun and easy to use. So I'm so excited. I love the 2% rule. As you can see, I've made it my own over the years. These are all ones that I've come up with myself from my life that have helped me. So I look forward to hearing, keep in the comments about how you're going to implement it in your life and what you're going to do with it. And I will see you all tomorrow. Tomorrow is a big one because we're going to start to put some of this stuff to